Ron, you're 8 months into this job. Was the initial challenge to put an identity on this team, given the faces that had left it, and most notably Matt's?
Yeah, well, we're trying. I don't think we're anywhere near the identity either myself or Brian Burke would like to have. But we're getting closer to the work ethic being where I'd like to see it. We're not as tough and robust as I'd like to see our team. But that's going to be a process that we're going through for the next couple of years as we try to make ourselves bigger, more competitive, and harder to play against.
The terms that come to mind for me with you, accountability, attention to detail,
yeah.
Responsibility for one's teammates.
Right.
Have you been managed to plant that seed sufficiently that we're starting to see things happening here heading into the season second half?
Well, I think so. We do it in fits and starts, not as consistently as I'd like. I'm like anybody else. You'd like to be able to come in, say, this is what we're doing, and then it all falls into place. But I know better than that, and I've had to take a few patience pills this year, more so than I've ever had to watch for a long time. Since my days in Anaheim, I guess my approach with this team is more along the lines of how you think about your team when you're an expansion team. We're not an expansion team, but you have to have that kind of mentality. There are going to be some nights where you have to take your lumps in order to make a point. One of the things I still think we need to improve is our practice habits, our how hard we work, and not having understood what the summer program was or the culture that was here maybe in the past. I don't think that the players came to training camp in the condition that I've been used to for the last 10 years or so, where conditioning was a year-round job, and it's just we've got to change the culture, and I've got to drag a lot of guys into that culture. In some ways, kicking and screaming. They don't. Without a base from the summer, from working hard in the summer, like old-time hockey, you showed up at training camp and you got in shape. And we're closer to that mentality than the modern NHL, where you come to camp and that's the best shape you're going to be in all year. So that's going to take a couple of years to change the mentality on our team, to build up what you're doing in the summertime. Becomes a lifestyle change, and then when you're practicing for 45 minutes to an hour during the season, you can do it at a high tempo and it doesn't affect the outcome of the next game. That's what I've seen sometimes with our team. When we have a hard practice, well, not a hard practice, a medium practice for me, sometimes is a very difficult practice for a lot of our players who aren't used to practicing this way, and it affects our next game. But I'm not going to compromise what I'm trying to teach in terms, like you said, attention to detail, good practice habits, in order to win the next hockey game, but continually set us back. We want to get off a treadmill here and actually be on the road running and going in a direction. I sense at times that we're stuck on a treadmill.
October 13th, Matt Stajan's a healthy scratch. 10 days later, Jason Blake is a healthy scratch. And I know this is just a microcosm, perhaps, but do you like the way they've responded and have moved on since then? And hopefully that sends a message to the rest of the team?
That's kind of funny. These are huge moments to other people, maybe to the player himself, but not as big. They get blown out of proportion. How could he do that, embarrass that player? And then you look at the results of those players. I don't have any issues with them, and they didn't really have an issue with it. But other people on the outside have issues with people being held accountable for their performance. It's easy to pick on the guy who's on the fourth line, and you sit him out. Nobody ever battles for those guys. It's easy to defend or your perception of what some player is. And Jason Blake, I can argue, from the second time he sat out to this point in the season, has been one of our best hockey players. And when he's been healthy after his sit out, there was a little bit of rebellion, like Stage didn't know how to respond to that because it hadn't really happened to him. But he's played great. He's having a career year. Blakey, it's a different situation. He's not going to have a career year, but he's going to be a much more effective player for the Leafs for having gone through a little bit of adversity early in the year.
If able to play the game still, I look at you in practice, you look like a coach who still wishes he was in the starting lineup.
Well, yeah, got to have fun. I'm still involved in something I dreamed of doing since I can remember. I always wanted to be a Toronto Maple Leaf. Now I get to coach them. I watched Punch Imlach all those years, and I can't believe I have his job, to be honest with you. Well, it's a different building, but essentially I'm sitting in his chair. I look at his picture every damn day because they're hanging up all over the place, and I hope one day I can lead the team to a Stanley Cup. It would be a lot of fun, not only for me, but for all the fans who are starving for it.